The latest spoilers and leaks for 1000 Year Blood War episode 35 have just been released, as we have a solid idea as to how much manga material will be adapted into this week's episode. We have information about the voice actors' performances, as well as what different soundtracks will be played during the episode. Also, some key details about Shunsui, as he has a highly anticipated moment in this upcoming episode. So I don't want to reveal too much for those of you who just want to know the episode synopsis, but just know that episode 35 really does sound like it's going to be another incredible episode of Bleach. This episode is massively focused upon Shunsui's battle against Lil Barrow, and it has a fair few manga chapters which are adapted here, but despite this, the episode does not feel like it's rushed. So before I give everything away in the intro of the video, let's dive into my complete breakdown and analysis of 1000 Year Blood War episode 35, Don't Chase a Shadow. We got really tired of the same old boring anime shirts, so we decided to launch Getsuga.com with the aim of creating designs inspired by our favorite anime and manga. We came up with designs that look cool and represent all of our favorite stories. Check out the latest Instinct collection, which features some amazing designs like this Frosted Heavens design inspired by Toshiro Hitsugaya, or this Instinct design inspired by Hollow Ichigo, and my personal favorite, which is the Heart design, which was inspired by Ukiura Shifa. Do not miss out, go to Getsuga.com and wear your favorite stories. So let's begin by going over the information that's been revealed over on the official Bleach anime website. As the story synopsis states, using his modified Bankai Konjigi Ashisogi Jizo Matai Fukuin Shotai, Mayuri Kurotsuchi devours Pernida as he laughs uncontrollably. But suddenly something begins to happen within Ashisogi Jizo. From this battle we cut to a different scenario as we see Urahara and Shunsui, who begin to sense fluctuations in Mayuri's spiritual pressure. This adds to the concerns of their current situation, because at the moment the numbers of their group are dwindling quick because they are being sniped at by Lil Barrow. Shunsui has had enough of the situation as he decides to take on Lil Barrow himself, as he makes a strategic move here in order to allow the other Shinigami to move ahead. So not too much is being revealed here. We get a bit of a follow-up as to what's happening with Mayuri and Pernida, and we get the setup of Shunsui beginning his battle with Lil Barrow. Now the staff, we have some usual faces that you can expect. The script is written by Masaki Hiramatsu, and this week's episode is storyboarded by Ima Saito, who has previously directed episode 6 of Call 1, and they're mostly known for storyboarding episodes of Boruto. We also have Kosei Takahashi as one of the animation directors for this episode, and they've previously directed episode 24 of Core 2. Now the great news for episode 35 is that the chief animation director is Kumiko Takayanagi. They've been credited for several episodes of Core 3, having been chief animation director for episode 28, 32 and now 35, as well as having this credit for 5 episodes of Core 2 and 4 episodes of Core 1. They've worked on a massive library of anime, so it's great to see their experience once again being put into Bleach. Now let's go over the 5 preview images which have been released for Don't Chase a Shadow. So the first image here is from the end of chapter 644. This is where Shunsui confronts Lil Barrow and begins his fight against him. The second image here is of Lil Barrow with this very neutral expression. We can see the barrel of his reishi weapon smoking as he has just fired off a shot. It does seem like from these preview images that a lot of the stuff from this episode is just going to be direct one-to-one panel adaptations from the manga. The third image here is of Nanao, who looks fairly concerned, and apparently Ichigo is going to have a couple of minutes of screen time in this episode, and Ichigo's appearance in this episode links to this 5th and final preview image of Askin, as we see him holding these very small gift balls between his fingers. So yeah, I think that this is content from chapter 648. A couple of episodes ago we did see Ichigo confront Askin after he had taken out Grimmjow, so we are going to get a bit of a follow-up to that situation in this installment of Bleach. So in terms of story content, it appears as though this episode is going to begin from content from the middle of chapter 644. This is where the Shinigami appear to be avoiding Lil Barrow, as Shunsui then takes a stand and confronts the Sternritter. Following this, material from chapter 645 will be adapted, and this chapter heavily focuses upon Shunsui using his Shikai ability to turn children's games into reality, as he seems to have the upper hand on Lil Barrow during the initial portion of their fight. Now, the first half of episode 35 is going to adapt all the way up until the end of chapter 646. This is after Lil Barrow activates his holy form Divine Judgment and fires these 3 shots towards Shunsui. The second half of the episode sees Shunsui trying to avoid Lil Barrow, as he is trying to buy some time and gain some distance between himself and the other Shinigami who are still battle around him. Following Shunsui releasing his Hado 78 Zangarin against Lil Barrow, it appears as though we cut to material from the beginning of chapter 648. This is during Ichigo's brief confrontation with Askin. Now after this, it's the moment that everybody has been waiting for. This is where Shunsui unleashes his Bankai Katen Kyokotsu Karamatsu Shinju. So of course everybody reacts to the release of Shunsui's Bankai, and then things play out rather smoothly as the remainder of chapter 648 is adapted, and then content from chapter 649 is adapted towards the end of the episode, and this material is largely focused upon Shunsui's fourth and final act of his Bankai. So episode 35 is revealed to end on page 15 of chapter 649. This is where Shunsui lays down and rests his head on the lap of his Zanpakuto spirit Katen. So the leaks have stated that this episode is entirely focused on Shunsui versus Lil Barrow, with only really 2 to 3 minutes where they do not appear. In terms of the overall pacing of the episode, it's said that it does not feel rushed at all, despite it adapting just under 5 chapters worth of manga content. Now interestingly, this episode is revealed to have no CGI from the leaks. The material between Ichigo and Askin only appears very briefly, as it seems like they react to the activation of Shunsui's Bankai. This is mostly content from chapter 648. The leaker says that some old school sound effects have been used for the Reiatsu release of Shunsui when he activates his Bankai, and in addition to this, there are a lot of really great soundtracks which are played during the episode, some that we've already heard of before and some which are new and are being featured for the first time in this episode. The leaks have also praised the voice actress of Shunsui's Zanpakuto spirit Katen, or as he refers to her as Ohana, so it's confirmed that the voice actor that was used for the Zanpakuto Rebellion filler arc is different to this voice actor that's used in episode 35 of the 1000-Year Blood War arc. As we know, during that filler arc, a lot of the Shinigami Zanpakuto spirits which were designed by Kubo featured, but yeah, it's an entirely different voice actor here. Yeah, and to confirm, the episode does end with Shunsui and Katen talking about Lil Barrow's defeat, thanks to him having used his Bankai. We turn our attention towards episode 36, which has been revealed to be titled Baby Hold Your Hand 2, as we continue the battle between Mayuri and Pernida, and the poem at the very end of the episode is said by a young Nemu, and this poem is taken from volume 71 of the Bleach manga. Nemu is going to play a massive role in episode 36, so make sure you don't miss it. The poem at the end of episode 35 says, "My child's hand so lost, wandering in search of mine, close but far I take your hand, together we will walk to the end." We have so much to look forward to in this recent episode of Bleach, with Shunsui beginning his major battle against Lil Barrow, with Lil Barrow revealing his holy form Divine Judgment, and then of course we have the reveal of Shunsui's Bankai, and we will be seeing all 4 acts of his Bankai adapted into episode 35. As the episode ends on a bit of a misleading note, as it seems like his battle against Lil Barrow has ended, but of course if you've read the manga you know that this is far from the case. Episode 36 returns our attention to Mayuri and Pernida, with Nemu finally getting her big moment to shine, and if they split Mayuri versus Pernida and Shunsui versus Lil Barrow like this, then I can assume that episode 37 is going to feature the second half of Shunsui versus Lil Barrow, and this is when Nanao will also have her major moment to shine. It's quite fitting that these two captains, who are assisted by their lieutenants, both have these really iconic fights so close to each other. I love that the anime has taken time to actually break the action and not just show us one fight and then follow it up with the other. Instead, we got the first half of one fight, then the first half of the next, and now we're going into the second halves. This has solidified my theory that the final few episodes of Core 3 are going to be focusing entirely on Hashward versus Baz B, which I'm really looking forward to seeing adapted. We have an entire flashback sequence which is dedicated for that fight, which helps us to understand more about the history of the Quincy. I really am confident that they're going to be expanding upon that flashback. It's going to be interesting to see Yuhobak building his Sternritter army, but yeah, I'll talk more about that when we get to those episodes. But for now, let me know your thoughts on episode 35 of the 1000-Year Blood War arc anime. Are you just as excited as I am to see Shunsui versus Lil Barrow? What do you think about the pacing of the episode as it adapts just under 5 chapters worth of manga content? So similar to episode 34, I don't think we're going to get any anime exclusive editions here, as yet again the anime is adapting quite a large chunk of the manga in this week's episode. But yeah, continue the discussion in the comments, let me know all of your thoughts, and I look forward to seeing all of you in my review and manga versus anime analysis for episode 35, which I'll be releasing on the weekend. Thanks for making it to the end of this video, and I cannot wait to see you in my next Bleach video. A massive thank you goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for helping to make this video possible. If If you also want to support the channel and see your name in the end of my videos, then check out my Patreon, which has loads of perks like early video access and so much more. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.